This is the Gatekeepers Podcast with Billy Grove. Billy is an innovative leader in the industry who loves teaching others how to build quality fence. So kick back, grab a cold beverage, and get ready to talk about fence. Today's show is sponsored by Mr. Fence Academy, National Metal Industries, and J.C. Gurry. If you're looking to hit the next level in your fence company, check out Mr. Fence Academy. Real fencers, real job sites, real training equals real results. And now, live from the Mr. Fence Academy studios, here's your host, Billy Grove.
Yeah, here we go. We're going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Sean King. Oh, wrong button. There we go. What's going on, buddy?
What's happening, man?
How are you, sir?
I'm back in the Indiana states, brother. Enjoying nice weather.
I see that, man.
You guys have down there. So
how was your long weekend?
Well, it could have been better. We we tried going to the lake, and if you own a boat, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the first day out, one motor down, steering down.
Yep.
So we made the best of it, man. We moseyed out to a cove and that's chilled, 3 days in a row. That's what we did. So
that's awesome.
Relaxed a little bit, but mostly I was just thinking about all the stuff I got to do this next week. This week.
Man, I left my phone in the beach bag for the majority of the time. I didn't even really touch it. So I was I was completely disconnected for the whole weekend. So that was great. That was a great feeling. So very much needed after all of the bullshit, excuse my French, that we've dealt with the past 2 weeks. So it was nice to be able to just shut down and turn off and be like, you know what? Tuesday's a new week.
Well, we tried to get early start, Friday, but we had 3 super fencers that needed to get out the door Friday.
Yeah.
And so we were balls to the walls getting those things ready to rock and roll. So. And
you got what, 4 coming in, like right behind it too?
So yeah, we got these 3 heading out and 3 more coming in. So
3 more coming in.
We did
wow.
a live video today of that, of the 3 that rolled out. Did you see that?
No. I didn't even I barely touched my phone today. We were at the shop all day. Like I said, I went to go stain that fence, and I got there and I was like, no. I was like, if I do this today, you're gonna be calling me tomorrow saying how bad it looks. So
shit.
So yeah, man, it poured over there on his side of town last night. It just sprinkled on my side of town, but it was super wet. So we got back. We had to do some maintenance on some drivers and clean up the shop, and we routed some posts for the job tomorrow. So there was things to be done. Absolutely.
Yep.
But all right, we got Mr. Mike Levy here. How are you doing tonight, sir?
All right, man, Mike, East Coast.
Yes, sir. East Coast National Metal Industries. We are going to give a shout out to them as awesome stuff. But we're just going to jump right into it, Sean. So I'm going to my first question, and it's kind of your story. So I know you released the Mr. Fence Academy versions of your story, and you don't have to do the full I think all 3 parts are 45 minutes. But it was a great one, man. I sat there and watched all 3 parts. I sat there and I went into a zone for 45 minutes and I watched it. But kind of give us your story about your upbringing into the fence industry and your journey to where you're at now.
Well, I'll try to keep this within a few minutes, so we're going to skip a lot of the details. But we started in the fence industry following my stepdad around as young as 8 years old. I was exposed to the fence business as a side job, right? My stepdad was in the military, and to make extra money, he would build fence on the weekends and his days off. So being that he's doing that, we are going to naturally be, exposed to it, dragged into it, part of helping dad get these jobs done. He's got 3 boys, so he's got to put them to work, and I would too. But I was 8 years old, 9 years old. There's pictures of me doing a chain link 4 foot tall tie up, and I probably wasn't older than 10, and had 2 grown men, and I'm sitting there doing the hookup on chain link on a 4 foot tall back then. So just being exposed to it around it doesn't mean I was building fence that young at all. I was picking up trash and hauling shit to the truck. Is all I was doing at that young age. I will say that I did start actually running a crew before I could drive a truck. So I was a foreman before I could drive the truck. So they would have to drive me to a job site, and these guys are grown men, and it didn't really work out very well. I didn't have the right attitude. My stepdad didn't train me very well in that respect on how to talk and communicate. So these guys we had working for us, I would run them off every other week. And my stepdad would be like, "What? Why do they keep leaving?" I'm like, "I don't know. They're weak. Like, give me another one. Let's go." Like, I didn't know how to slow down, be really efficient, methodical about how to build fence. All I did was work my ass off, like a lot of fence guys do. You're not going to outwork me. And redo shit, double down on it, do shit the hard way, just get it done. It's all the way I know how to do it. This is how we're going to do it. Boom, boom, boom. And wear these dudes out. And they'd be like, "I'm not working for that kid. He's out of his damn mind. We're going to get done till 9 o'clock at night." Like, no. And I'd be like, "Well, it's only 200 feet of fence. We're going to get it done today." Back then, I thought that was monstrous. And I put 18-hour days in and do what we do now in a few hours. But so, I wasn't very good at being a foreman in the younger years. As I became older, 21, 22, started realizing that there's a lot more to running a fence business than building fence itself. And that's where I really differentiated from my stepdad. He was a doer. He was a guy that would just get it done, but really didn't have maybe the experience, the passion, the know-how. He missed the boat on like the financial and understanding running a business to make money, like making sure we're charging enough money for the jobs. And so there was a huge disagreement at that point in my life where I was old enough to know better and old enough to say, "I'm not doing this no more." And so we had a kind of a breakup in the family, and I went off and did my own fence thing. And then he went off and did his own fence thing. And the rest is history, right? So he's been out of the fence business for a long time, and we have been steadily climbing and trying to do our best to thrive since then. Somewhere around that when I broke off and did my own thing is when I really had freedom to start working on efficiencies and tools and methods. And I didn't have someone tell me no, so I could try things. Like I could daydream or dream at night all night long. And how do we run pickets faster? How do we dumb it down to where people can do what I'm doing even better?
Right.
I thought I was pretty good at building fence, but I really wasn't that good at building fence. Not when you compare it to what guys are doing now with less effort, right? Like we got kids that are just zero experience. And I thought I was the shit, but you don't know what you don't know until you learn what you didn't know. And so we started building, and straight away was one of the first tools that we had. And then the equalizer was like another early on tool. And when we first came out with that tool was nothing like it is today. It was archaic compared to what it is today. It was dangerous. It was dangerous.
Whenever we were up there last, your mom actually told us how you came up with the idea with a rubber band in class. I was like, no shit.
I was
cool, man.
I was in a financial budgeting planning class at AFA. This was at Northwest Show in Reno. I believe it was Northwest Show Reno. I believe it was in Reno. But they had classes, and I was in the classroom, and the shit was going right over my head. I did not understand the cogs and the margins, and I was just not getting it. In the back of the room, and there was an Amish guy sitting in front of me, and he had a rubber band, and he was kind of, you could tell, lost like me, but at least he had a rubber band he was playing around with. And he was stretching in and out, and the rubber band broke. So now he had this elastic band, and he laid it on the table and he started doodling on it. So he started drawing lines on the band, and then he picked the band up. So they were equally spaced, and then he picked it up and went like this, and all the lines went equally spaced. And my mind went from finances to, oh my God, right? It's like ding,
That's
ding.
awesome.
I left the classroom, and I was not thinking of posts. I didn't immediately go to post. I went to railing balusters. My mind went to doing railing balusters because we were doing a lot of, we've always done decks. And back then, a lot of our decks were wood balusters, and we always wanted to be equally spaced. And so we were taught by our stepdad, put one in the center, use a spacer block, and work to the post on both sides and have a remainder. And I remember thinking, there's got to be a better way, and I can't get these guys to do the math. And so I went and got elastic strap for a waistband for making like shorts at fabric store, like that white you can buy at a strip that you would sew into a pair of pajama pants.
Yeah.
And I took that, I put marks on it, put thumbtacks on both ends, and gave it to my guys and said, here's your math. Tick, tick, doom. And they were able to do baluster spacing down to the 1/8 of an inch. It worked perfect. And that worked. And then one day I'm like, wait a minute. Can I get that same band? You know, honestly, did not work for fence. We had to spend some time, trial and error, came up with what we have now today. But the earlier versions were a 3-person process. So a person either ended a bungee, right? They had to hold it. And then you would have the third person go down the line and mark the X's on the ground with a dig, and then roll it up, put it back in the truck. The next version, I got brave, and I took like 9 or 10 inch screwdrivers and stuck them in the ground to hold the first loop, and stuck them in the ground to hold the last. First loop, and then a guy had to hold the other end. So it was a 2-man process. But the problem was, sometimes the band would be so tight that the screwdriver would come out of the ground. And now me and the other guy that's holding the other end are dancing because now we have a projectile coming at us at Mach 10, flipping around, get this 10-inch screwdriver flying at you, and realize like, that's probably not very safe.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So we went back to then tying it to pins that were drove a foot or more in the ground. I had to teach the guys how to tie it because it was always coming undone, or they were tearing it up. And then we had tags that would rip your hand open because they were pinned on with staples. If you let it slide through there, I mean, where we've come from where it was to where it is now, night and day difference.
Man, that's awesome.
But we don't have a crew that doesn't build fence without it. There's no way they would be lost. But you asked, so we went, running our own business to making the tools, and I spent a lot of years not profitable at all, breaking even, mainly because I didn't know how to handle the finances. I wasn't focused on anything. I would be doing whatever job would come out. Like my ego would say, I can build that. I can sell that. Doesn't mean I'm gonna make money at that. And that's a key nugget you should pay attention to. It's not about what you can do. That's not how you're gonna be successful. It's what should you be doing? What are you good enough to make money at, right? So for a long time, I took on jobs that were over our head, but I did them because I felt like it was bolstering my ego. Made me feel like I was a super ninja. Like, well, I built that. We built some pretty exotic fences and didn't charge enough. Basically like doing a piece of artwork and charging for a thrift store flea market price. Because, I didn't understand. It's not about what I would pay for it. This is what I thought of as I was bidding jobs. Like, I would never pay that much for it, so I'm going to bid it for this. No, I'm not my customer. It's what would your customer pay for it? They want that, right? What's the value to them? Not what's the value to me. It took me a long time to figure that out. But we were not focused. I was focused on tools, training. My first training event was in Evansville. We had some guys fly in from Australia. As a manufacturer said, you got to see these guys build fence.
National Metal Industries, a family-owned business for 70-plus years, has grown to be recognized for their ability to deliver on not just privacy slats for fence, but all types of fence products. National Metal Industries has all the hardware and tools to get the fence professional in and out of their job with the most ease possible. You can count on National Metal Industries for the most convenient resources in fence products. Visit nmifence.com for more information. As we like to say, you can always pick it right at National.
We're going to get right to it.
What's up, gang? How are you guys
going
doing today?
on? How are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. How are you today?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good, man. It was a pretty calm day down here, man. Me and a new helper went and knocked out 101 foot, 110 foot of 2-rail like split cedar rail. So that took 2 hours. It was super easy to do, but yeah, man, good day. It was a nice change of pace. We had a nasty rainstorm and like tornado storm come through yesterday, so it was a shop day. So we just worked on trucks, worked on the drivers, got everything fixed, ready to go, and we hit the ground running today. But so real quick, just tell everybody where you're out of, so that way everybody can get a little bit more familiar with you, sir.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Pavel Schlahovsky. I've had my first name.
There we go. Schlahovsky.
Yes, sir. That's it.
There we go. I got it right. Heck yeah, man.
Got it. I go by Pavel Schley. I'll be honest with you. There's really no right way or wrong way to say my name, because everybody butchers it from the first to the last person. Very few people get it right. So I'm one of the only people that I get it right. So I hope it's right. But I'm going Pavel, Pablo, Pavel. Schlahovsky, all kinds of different ways. So I guess that's what happens when you have 11 letters in your last name. So yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have a deck company that we're turning into a hybrid, also a fence company here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are, new in the fence world. The deck business, we were very fortunate, and we had a little success our way with
a little success.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. We've been very, very fortunate. I mean, I tell everybody the grass is greener on the other side, but we have been very fortunate with good people and good team, good work ethic. I went through a lot this past year for different changes that I had in the business life. But we've been fortunate. We've been, nothing beats hard work. There's no secret sauce of the best. I tell people the best secret sauce to anything is hard work. And however you want to take it, you can work hard, you can work smart, you can work hard and smart too. So I'm here to learn from you guys too. So, but I'm here to enjoy the show. Thank you for inviting me today. Thank you, Billy.
Absolutely, man. And whenever we got up to Indiana for the training, 2 weeks ago now? Yeah. 2 weeks ago now. We got in and we got checked in, and Sean was like, "Hey, you guys come by the house." And we're like, "All right, cool." So we pull up, and Sean's working on the Jeep that is the breast cancer like awareness Jeep. And we're just sitting there talking, shooting the shit, and he's like, "Man, you're never going to believe this." I was like, "All right, what? Shoot." So he says, "I got this guy, and he's a deck builder." And I was like, all right. And he was like, he's doing 1.5 million a month in decks in Pennsylvania. He just came to the retreat, and he went all in on the fence business. And I'm like, I'm sitting there because not only have I not seen Sean in 4 or 5 months, and I'm but I'm also processing all of this information that he's saying, and I'm like, man, that's wild. I was like, never in my wildest dreams could we be doing $1.5 million of fence a month. And I'm processing all of this information. And I was like, man, I've got to meet this guy. I've got to meet this guy. I've got to get. So like there's going to be a great conversation had. So, you know, like the minute that you showed up to the training, I walked straight up to you and I was like, "Hey man, my name's Billy. I'd like you to like to be on the show." And I didn't want to be any more straightforward like than that. Like I was super excited to meet you. And like with that said, will you tell us the story of Pavel? Tell us how you got into the construction world. Tell us about the deck business. Like I know this is a fence podcast, but I would love to hear your background. I'm sure some of the like listeners would love to as well.
Well, thank you for the introduction, man. Wow, that's huge. I'm very, very humbled. You know, whether it's 1.5, 1, 1.7, 1.2, whatever it is, we're floating around. Last month, well, we did pretty good. Last month, we actually did quite a bit less. We had a huge fly in March in business. We just because a lot of the not only new customers but also the customers that we were doing from last year that did not buy but bought with us this year, that helped us out. Plus, we do quite a bit of some of the builder work too, so that helps us out. That brings us up there a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, like, you know, the grass is greener on the other side always. You know, my story is not the easiest story, I would say. Last year I went through a lot with my GC company that we did. I mean, I almost actually went, believe it or not, I almost went bankrupt. It was there's a lot that happened. I was growing so fast.
You know, like happens, man. That's just like all the empowering stuff, man. Like happens. So, you know, I mean, tell away, bro, because you know, you might be helping somebody who's in that exact spot right now.
Yeah. So just to go back on myself too, you know, I'm originally from Ukraine, was born in Mykolaiv, Ukraine. Moved here to the United States when I was 6 years old in January 1990. My dad walked off the airplane with $20 in his pocket and 5 kids and a 2-week-old baby. And I said, God, like, I am going to make it or fail it. So, and, you know, fortunately with, you know, being in this great country of opportunity, you know, my dad made it. He was a custom tailor in the city of Pittsburgh. The best guy. I mean, people don't know about, you know, tailors can be poor. My dad, we grew up poor. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we grew up in 7 kids in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, you know, all of us sharing the bathroom and, you know, kids bunking together, you know, 7 brothers and sisters, including myself. You know, we were humble beginnings for sure. You know, my dad went to the, you know, bought the house for like $20,000 in a school district that he knew that would be a good school district for his kids to go to. So I got to give him credit. He's no longer alive now. He's passed away, but I got to give a lot of credit to him because I learned a lot from him as far as, like, you know, go all in, you know, or go home, you know, and also with ethics and, you know, integrity. I learned a lot from my old man. But yeah, my GC story was you know, I got to tell you honestly, you know, there's nothing like humble beginnings. I started years ago. My dad's when my 2005, 2004, 2005. I started my dad's station wagon, and you know, I borrowed his car for you know, to run around do custom trim work, mill work. So, you know, we started doing trim work, and you know, we trimmed homes, we installed cabinets, and our business kept on growing. Then I said, well, how can I grow this business to a different level? And started to do we started to do you know, like little additions and little bathrooms and doing renovations, and that part grew and it kept on growing and growing and growing. You know, hindsight, I think if we would have done things a little differently, you know, I think our business could have done well in the GC world as well. I didn't allow it to be honest with you. I think that I went really heavy into the custom world and very, very high end residential. People know me. We have a great reputation. You know, nothing is you know, short of saying of our quality of work was like top notch always. I mean, you know, originally started installing cabinets myself. I installed, you know, miters, crown molding, all that stuff, and you know, until I found out other guys can do it better than me and faster than me. And that's when I said, okay, well, let them do it. Let me try to work on other things, you know? So yeah, it kind of really evolved, you know, into what I am today, you know, and, you know, last year was a tough year for me, really, really tough. I couldn't believe how, much after COVID, a lot of the prices of materials, I had locked in contracts, which makes me now be a little smarter with my new contracts. We had projects where my labor was already fixed, my materials were already fixed, but I had a contract. One of them was a huge commercial fit out for casework for an apartment building, huge job, and I put resources and time and energy into a project that was a year and a half long, and it ended up costing me, after having 10 employees that work full time, it costed me $28,000. So you guys see, like, that's a lot of overhead, a lot of time. I had an office, I had a full staff, and we were doing other things, and people started getting behind it. My business grew, but my organization, like internally, did not grow. And a lot of it was because we were doing too many different things. We were doing, like, I had my trim business, I have my my GC business. We're renovating houses for people, working with architects, and a lot of people wanted Pavel. A lot of people wanted me, and that kind of burned me out, to be honest with you. That's when I said that, I need to do something where I can scale it, and it doesn't have to be everything about me. And aside from my last name on the company.
Yeah.
So
hey, trust me, man. I get it, bro. Whenever I started, I was doing everything: drywall, painting. And once I finally found my niche and I was like, I'm good at this. Like, I'm really good at this. Like, it wasn't 2 or 3 months later, I was like, drop every other service except for fences. Drop it.
There you go. Amen. I believe that.
I don't care how broke we may be this week. Drop it, because if I can sell a fence and I can build a fence and we can do it perfect every single time, it's worth all of this unloading trailers and getting ready for different types of job, whether it be sheetrock or trimmed work or all of that stuff takes so much time. And you don't really realize it until you're sitting there doing it and you're like, oh man, I've been loading and unloading this trailer for almost an hour.
Amen.
Whenever I could have been on the job site, because I only have one set of tools that I need for the scope of work that I'm doing, and I just could have just picked up the trailer and gone. So, I mean, I am all for it, but I'm also for diversification, but it has to do with the same industry that I'm in. Like, for instance, I mean, like, we offer staining services. That doesn't mean that I'm going to go stain your house, or like I'm going to go stain your wood floors. I'm going to stain your fence.
Yep,
and if they want a deck stained, I'm going to like pass that off to a real professional, because I have dabbled in deck staining, and that's a whole scientific degree. You got to know all about the wood species that you're dealing with. A fence is a fence is a fence, and you can just throw stain on it. So, we'll do that. But other than that, man, fences is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
And that's how.
Amen.
And that's how it's been for the past 5 years. So
that's awesome. I love it. I had a really hard time last year doing that, because I loved everybody. I loved everybody I work with. It was just, to be honest with you, like, going through that hard financial part and making those hard decisions, people you worked with for a long time, it's crushing. It could really, really crush you. I mean, we had a great team of guys that were doing stuff. The business grew, but my internal organization didn't 100% grow. And I think a lot of it has to do with me, to be honest. I could take the blame for it. We did a lot of cool projects with some really cool people, with some great architects, and some fantastic work that we've done. I mean, we've done stuff subpar to none. Nobody could do what we did value-wise, And the other kicker was, I had a project that we were into, and on top of all that I was telling you about, we had a customer who ran out of money on the big job, and that hurt us as well, in our company. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna do one thing. One thing that's making, what is keeping our business afloat? That was my carpentry service stuff I started with years ago. And my decks, they were, and, our services are, were paying for all the other things that we were doing. We were building people houses. We were building people additions, doing those big, sexy, big projects, but they weren't making us any money. The only person that was stressed out was me. There was people stressed in the company, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, financially, Pavel was responsible. Pavel was going to write the check. Pavel was going to borrow from Peter to pay Paul to make sure everybody got paid. And thank God, everybody got paid. Schley Construction has paid every single debt to anybody that we've worked with, and we're very, very, very proud of it because of how much work we've put in to get there and do what we did last year. We are very, very proud of that. But yeah, we got
yeah, man, and just a real quick segue, guys.
Yeah.
Whenever you're scaling your business past $1 million, let's be real, you're gonna go into debt.
Yeah.
It just happens. Don't let it freak you out. Manage the debt properly. Pay whatever payments you have to pay, and pay them on time. And I promise you, any of those people will still give you their services as long as you're paying on time and you are managing your debt properly, because you cannot scale your business unless you're just a money tree out back without like accumulating some type of debt. And that's just the facts of it.
Amen. Yeah, debt is a very big thing. It can, we have debt too. Our company has debt. When I say we've paid everybody, I mean, don't mean that we've paid down all our debt. Hell no. We have a lot of debt.
Yeah.
It's about us having to pay all the contractors. Every sub got paid. Even though Pablo Schley did not get paid, Pablo Schley paid everybody. And every supplier got paid. My Home Depots, my lumber yards, my vinyl suppliers, my vinyl railing people, anybody that I've worked for, that has worked for us as a company, everybody got paid, and that was something, going through a really difficult time that I could say that me and my wife are super proud of, that, the things that me and my wife sacrificed to make sure everybody got paid. I mean, there could be a book about that. And I can say I'm very, very proud of it, for sure. So.
Trust me, I know, bro. I've been there, done that. And, there's been multiple times where I took my paycheck in the middle of the week next week because it just wasn't doable.
Amen.
But I mean, like, with that said, give us a recap of the Mr. Fence Academy retreat. I've never been. We were supposed to go this year, but as I told you on the phone on the way here, Corey's leg break right before the start of the year, we had to rebrand the whole company. And so we were kind of working our way back from scratch. So just give us a recap of the retreat.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, how I got into fence too is I'll rewind a little bit here. So when I did the decks, we focused, my company would not take on any other work except decks. Like if people called me, I had people crying and called me saying, I need to have this $1 million addition. I'd love you guys to come out and we're ready for the project. We have our financing in place. Our bank is going to write you the check. We're ready to go. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I don't have the time to do it. We've rebranded completely to go to decks. And basically, what happened was, beginning this year after my rubble that we were climbing out of, I really realized who in my company was really the people that stuck with me, that went through the hard time with me. And I said, you know what, we had a great ending into the year. I took everybody to Florida. It wasn't a big team. It was just actually the four of us that were like the core members of our team. That we went down to Florida and we said, here's what we're up. Here's what we're up against. How we're going to do the things differently this year. And I can't help myself when I have something going good. I don't just sit at home. I have to always keep growing and doing something. I'm always all into whatever I'm doing. And at the place that we were talking in Florida, I said, what can we add on to what we're doing? We have a lot of customers. Whether we quoted the jobs, got the jobs, didn't get the jobs, what can we add to our service that wouldn't hurt us? Like, what can we add that could be a benefit and help both ways? If we can collaborate something that we can add as a service to our business. And we thought about water irrigation. We thought about
J.C. Gurry Signs and Decals has been a trusted name in the sign industry since 1949, with all manufacturing done in-house from start to finish right here in the USA. With 75 years in outdoor signage and roots dating back to the 1920s, J.C. Gurry specializes in durable, high-quality signs and decals. In-house screen printing since the 1970s ensures every product meets the highest standards. Visit jcgurry.com for more information. Every aluminum sign includes Mylar lamination at no extra cost, extending product life in tough outdoor conditions. For unmatched quality and longevity, visit jcgurry.com.
constant grind out there, man, every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to stay on track if I can. Over here in Rhode Island, it just rains every day, so it's a constant battle trying to stay on schedule when I'm never on schedule at all. But
trust me, I know all about that. I know,
You know what I mean?
all about that, man. It rains here all the time.
But yeah, man, we're just out here working. I mean, we're fairly new.
Man, I've been watching you on like social media, and I saw you just got that new truck for the other crew. Super.
That's mine. That's my truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought that for me. So I got a 5500 HD, brand new. I'm waiting to get it back. I put an 18-foot I got a 12-foot bed on there. I threw some boxes on there from Work Ready over here in Rhode Island. It's a good investment, you know what I'm saying? Because I have two other trucks. They're all built, but the one that I drive all the time is kind of the turbo blue on it. They're smaller trucks. They're only 350s, you know what I'm saying? And the weight, the amount of weight I put on them things is just, I'm just beating the shit out of them, man, like bad. So I just figured I'll just get something bigger that's gonna last. You know what I mean? No, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just start and go.
Absolutely. Well, how was your past week, man? How was the past work week?
It was good, man. I mean, like we do about I don't know. We say I try to get done like at least 150 polls a week. You know what I'm saying? With me and 4 other guys. So if I can get that done, that's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? That's a good week for me. You know what I mean? Monday through Friday. And I had to change things around because we're falling behind. So once we're falling behind, I was doing it's hard because it's just me that runs the company, that does everything. I do my social media. I sell the fence. I install the poles. I do everything. And in the beginning of the first 3 months of the season, I was actually just doing sales, trying to get myself caught, have enough work for the rest of the year. And by doing that, I slowed down a little. I got way more than I thought. I just kept on putting it in QuickBooks. Kept going. Didn't really realize how many jobs I had. And then when I went to my supplier, because I only have one supplier over here, they looked at me and they're like, "Brian, do you know how many jobs you have?" And I said, I think I'm about 8 to 10 weeks out. He's like, "Yeah, we all know that you can do it, Brian, but you just really need to know how many you have. 120 jobs already."
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes. Man. So now I'm I hired a new guy. I'm out there working and setting poles in front of these guys while they're installing panels. So if we can do about 150 panels a week, it'd be good. You know what I mean? If I stay in front of these guys and they go behind me, so installing the panels, because I set all my poles first and then I pop in the panels later. Everything that we do besides aluminum, obviously, and wood on wood, but I don't really do that much wood on wood. I kind of stay away from it over here. Right. I do mostly vinyl and wood on steel.
Nice.
And a lot of aluminum too.
Nice. All right, man. Well, hey, my first question is, I've followed you. We've been friends on Facebook for I think going on 2 years now, and I've seen little things that you've posted that has really intrigued me and also empowered me as well. But I really want to hear your story because I know there's a lot more to the Brian than just behind the kind of vague letting you in just a little tiny bit posts.
Yeah, man. I mean, I started doing fence when I was 17 years old. I'm 40 now. And the funny thing is, I mean, I had a little bit of a past. So I was retarded when I was a kid. So I was always getting in trouble. So the guy across the street from me was a supervisor of the biggest fence company out here in Rhode Island. So, and I didn't even know it was a fence company. I just thought it was like a landscaper or something. So I tried to get a job with this guy and he wouldn't give me a job. So I literally would put letters in his mailbox and his door windows. His kids would come out. I tell his kids, give me a job. And it took me a year to busting this guy's balls to get a job because nobody else would hire me anyway in the first place because I had kind of a record and shit. So I couldn't get a job at McDonald's. So I literally was hoping and praying on this guy. and he's Portuguese, 100% Portuguese. The whole company was Portuguese by that too. So like the day he finally gave me the job was like the fucking worst jig in the whole entire world. I think he kind of gave me that job to see if I would just, I would quit, and I didn't quit. But I worked with them for like 15 years with that guy until I wound up joining the union, and then I wound up getting out of the union and starting my own thing. But I would have to work, to start my own thing. I was doing side jobs, so I would work by myself. Right. I would work for the company, and then I would work alone from 4:30 in the afternoon to 9:30 at night every single day of my life. And not one of these single guys, like my friends or anything, they all thought I was crazy. Because in all reality, for me to get the content on Facebook or social media or even get my name out there, I had to work for free. I literally mean that, almost like gas cost to get there and get the jobs done. Most people wouldn't even take me in the first place because I look kind of young, and I didn't have, it was kind of just doing things on the side, to be honest with you. So to get to where I am now it's kind of crazy, and it was pretty fast too. It wasn't well, it was long. It took me a long time to get where I'm at, but now watching the fence industry and watching Dan Wheeler or Sean King or these guys, man, and understanding it's showing me the way. I mean, it's just crazy how you can learn from other people and not even be around them. Literally, you can on Facebook or social media or whatever it is. Because literally, 2-3 years ago, I reached out to Dan Whale and I said, man, I hope, one day I'll be able to go on a podcast. And this is my first podcast, so this is pretty cool for me, dude. In all reality, to see and to see and to help people out, because people reach out to me all the time and ask me, how are you doing this? What do you do? How do you do that? And I'm just a regular old, I'm better at putting the fence up than I am running a business. That's why I got my father doing it for me. But if you just keep doing what you're doing and stay on social media, Facebook ads, and just do good work, and take care of your men. You know what I mean? That's another thing. I have 6 guys under me now, and I pay them handsomely, and I think all my competitors think I'm crazy, but they just see it a different way. I don't see it that way. If you got a car, you gotta put gas in it. You gotta take care of these guys. You know what I'm saying? So I pay these guys very well. I take care of them if they ever need something. If they, because they're there for me. If they rock with me, then I rock with them. No matter what. Yeah. I mean, I have really I should have, the way I'm doing these jobs nowadays, I probably should have more people. But at the same time, my guys do so much work more than most of these other crews do in the first place, because they actually come into work and they actually want to do a good job for me. You know what I mean? Right. And they're proud of it too. They literally are proud of it. And plus my foreman's been side by side with me for 17 years. So I literally carried this man with me everywhere I went. And then when I finally became a business, he was a supervisor actually at somewhere else. And I actually, I had to beg him to come with me. And I'm like, dude, listen, you'll always have a job anywhere you go, man. I was like, but if you just stay with me, I promise you, we will do this together. And he's been side by side with me, him, my nephew. And I just got another hire actually that's been at the same place what I was just talking about, Wood and Wire, 20 years ago. He actually ran the entire shop for that place, and now he's with me doing all my wood jobs. So
right.
He's definitely a huge asset for me. So, because just in case when I do decide on growing and get myself a shop, because that's my new move is to get an actual shop and to start building my panels as well. And, that's a 5-year plan. But every time I say it's a 5-year plan, I swear to God, it happens in a year. It's just
yeah,
I'm trying to go slow, but it's just, if you don't go with the roll, if you just don't roll with it, then it's just, you're just going to get rolled over.
You got to roll the punches, man. You got to roll the punches, and sometimes it's not a time thing. It's just a all business thing. And in order to grow, man, you got to get yourself out of the driver's seat. First off, you gotta put that baby in somebody else's hand. As bad as you want to be out there installing fence, and I get it. Trust me, I get it, man. It's hard for me. to not just take over on crews and just be like, hey, let me do this. And I have to remember that I'm the manager and they're the ones supposed to be doing it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like even being on the field, like I don't have to be there. I mean, my guys tell me that too. They're like, dude, what do you do? Just go do what you're supposed to do. I'm like, this is what I am doing. This is what it is. And right now at this time, like it's actually kind of good. So you have your high moments and your low moments. So like right now I'm trying to actually just catch up. So I don't really have to do that many sales because just sometimes too much is just, it's not good. It's already
too much
just
can
too
be a
bad.
bad thing.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's where, we've over at High Steel, we're in the same boat as you right now. We're like 6 to 8 week books out, and we're fighting rain, we're fighting intense heat outside. So, the guys can't push like they can when it's, 80 degrees outside. It's 100 with 120 degree heat index here.
Yeah, dude, I'm not. They don't like that.
It is stupidly hot. So we do have to take some downtime to make sure that I'm not getting a phone call saying, hey, Johnny Dunn fell out and passed out, because that's the last call I want to get, to be straight honest with you. Funny story, I'm not going to say any names. We had a new guy start last week, and he was like, yeah, man, I used to work outside, all this other stuff. And long story short, first day before lunchtime, well, no, I'll give him lunchtime. It was like directly after lunchtime, he cramped up bad, looked like he had cerebral palsy, like hands were stuck like this.
Yo, I swear to God, that shit used to happen to me all the time. It scared. The first time my fingers locked up on me, I had no idea what was going. Like I thought I was broken in half. It was crazy. I tell my guys, you gotta drink water. You know what I mean? And like in all reality, like we do a lot of work for like a small company, but like we have a plan. So like we already know what we have to do, how we need to do it. We have machines. I have that IR 1000. I have a total long auger. Our system works really good. So like, it's not so stressed out. So like, even if we do like say 80 holes in the day and we dig and set those poles, like in all reality, like it's not as hard as it was like when me and Kyle were digging by hand. You know what I'm saying? I dig her in the butt. You know what I'm saying? So that machine that takes care of all the brute work. I mean, you put that thing, you get the bucket, you throw like 12, 14 bags of concrete, you place them everywhere you go. I mean, it's a well-organized system that we got going on. So it's not really brute strength. It's actually more about using our brains and just making sure that we do everything the same way. You know what I mean? And all our jobs are the same because they're all by like a ritual that I do. Like that's how we do it. Set the line, set the string, mark the poles. Everything is exactly the same. So even if I did the job or they did the job is completely the same. Like a lot of these guys out here, and I'm not knocking anybody. It's just like they don't know how to set poles to height. Like, you know what I mean? They were all taught a different way over here in Rhode Island. Like a lot of these guys don't set things to height. They just cut them later or they put in panels as they go. And I had to learn how to set poles to height so I could actually put panels up because I couldn't put panels up by myself at night. You know what I mean? So like I had to learn there had to be a better way. And then once I learned that way of doing fence, man, that was a total game changer. I mean, I did my first big side job I did by myself. I did it in 32 hours. And I think it was 85 panels of vinyl. And it was takedown and all. And I did it like 4 days after work. And then on a Saturday and Sunday, like dolo, by myself. And the lady was like beyond herself. She thought like, I didn't know I showed up in a Honda Accord. I mean, that's what I had. I had a Honda Accord showing up. And she just like, a fence delivered at her house, and I'm fucking taking diggers and bars out of out of my trunk with the doors, with the seats laid back. And she's just like, "Where's your men? Where's your guys? Why are you here at 4:30 in the afternoon?" And her husband just looked at me and he laughed. He said, "Man, you weren't lying, huh?" And I was like, "Nah, man." I'm dead serious. I was like, "Just listen. If you're not satisfied with what's going on, it's Monday today. When I bring my guys Saturday, which I wasn't bringing guys Saturday, but I had to say something. I was like, and you're not satisfied with what's going on, I'll do it for free. And then I'll call my guys and we'll all come in there and we'll bang it out. I was like, just believe me, there's going to be poles all over the place, like set. I was like, well, I don't do the job as I go. So just, bear with me. Just believe me. And she was like tweaking out the whole time. Like, Friday there was poles all over her house and it was huge. So she was like, what? I've never seen this, which I don't understand. I'm like, listen, this is just how I do it. I was like, just Saturday, believe me, you'll be happy. I put up like 45 panels on Saturday by myself. And then she finally was like, oh my God. And then Sunday when I was done, they gave me like a $500 tip. I actually just did another house for him. And, just this year actually, because he moved out of that house, got another house. He's a super supporter, and he was like my first job, and his job actually was the one that made me be like, all right, you know what, fuck it, I can do this by myself. I can do this. Like, I used to be scared of doing jobs, and as soon as after that job, I wound up getting my general contractor's license. I got registered and insured. And then I just started doing things, but I felt bad because my owner, the guy that I worked for, is like, he is my mentor anyway. Like literally, Ron DeFusco, Union Fence over here in Rhode Island. He's the man. And I felt bad when I left, but I had to. It's either one or the other. I can't work. I was killing myself, literally, like working till like 11 o'clock at night, loading up the trailer and starting at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym. Like it's just starting at 4 in the morning. Till like 11 o'clock at night, just straight working like crazy, like no family time, no nothing. It just it sucked, I got 3 kids, and it's not like I got much more time, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
I
right.
got, you know what I mean? Like you just don't.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man. Time goes fast when you have kids. It just kind of just slips away.
Yeah, time goes by fast, man. It really does.
Does. What would you think that your most defining moment of your career was? It could be a purchase you bought, it could be something that you attended and you felt like you took away, but like, what's the most defining leap that you've made in your career?
Knowing how to make money, man. Like in all reality, like learning how to, try to make money a little bit, just like that 20%, because you get 20% off the materials, and like I would give that to my customers, and I didn't realize how, like, just installing a fence. Once I realized, like, putting money down and tables and figuring everything out and understanding it, that was huge for me, because when you make the money, you can actually spend it in certain areas, like. Because like we were digging by hands, and then I bought the machine, and then I was just like I would be making all this money, but I would keep looking at my bank account, and I'm like, where is this money going? And then once I started making a little bit of money on the materials and actually growing my business as a business and using QuickBooks, once I got onto QuickBooks actually, and I started doing it that way, and everything's actually like organized, and I can see everything, what's going in and out and everything like that. That was definitely that made me from like down here to all the way up here. I gotta say,
right?
Yeah, because QuickBooks is definitely, or any kind of system that you can actually see instead of just like a pen and paper. Like I was a pen and paper guy, like just until like the beginning of last year, to be honest with you, and it was kind of insane. It was actually ridiculous. I don't even know how I did it. I just did
paper everywhere, huh?
Oh, dude, I would show up to job sites with a backpack, like 6 books like this with jobs, and I would be like, all right, well, we're in July, so that's probably book number 3. And I would have to look through. It was so unorganized. It's so ridiculous. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know how I did it that way. Like, I really don't. And everything was like invoices, like in my phone, just like one little app, invoices. Like this person would owe me this, and that's what I would know. I'm like, did they give me this? I wouldn't even show like a deposit. It was just, it was insane. My dad.
It was a wild, wild west, huh?
Oh, it was so bad, man. It was so bad. I'm still learning as I go. I'm only 3 years old. You know what I mean? So like, I'm more of a brute than the brains over here. But my father, my poor dad, he just retired, and now he's working for me. He's my office manager. He takes care of everything. And I never knew what he actually did for a living. Like I knew he was good with computers and stuff like that, but he worked for IBM and Motorola and CVS dealing with all their money accounts. So like once I told him I had a problem with this, he was like, kid, let me just show you something. And he just broke it down, man. And I was like, wow.
Nice.
And I'm so bad with like computers and text and stuff like that. So, you know, I thought he was going to have to do it all. But now I can go on there and do whatever I got to do. Because of my business, making invoices and all this shit I hear, and I'm nasty at it. Now I can just make it in 2 seconds. Because before I would have to rely on my supplier they would have to make up a spreadsheet for me so I could send it to the customer, and then the customer would call them and they would have to order the materials. Like that's how bad it was.
Wow.
It was so bonkers. It was dumb. And I thought that was like a selling point, because I'm like, well, they know what they're buying. They know exactly what they're getting, and they're getting my discount. So it was kind of like a selling point, but at the same time, it was nuts. The guy, when I quit, he told me, he's like, listen, kid, you got to do this, this, and this. Do that. You're nuts. You're out of your mind. He's like, yeah, you made like, 300,000 or whatever. He's like, imagine what 20% of 300,000 is. Imagine 1.5 million and 20% of that. You know how much money you're losing off the table?
Yep.
And one day, and I was like, holy shit. I left $225,000 on the table last year. Like 2 years ago, I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And actually, when I even did it this way, I actually got more work because I worked more professional in the first place. So I don't know where my head was at, but like I'm still learning. You know what I mean?
Man, it's awesome whenever you put people in the places that they're supposed to be and you let them do their job. Sometimes, like you just said, you're like, boom. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking.
It works so much better with you doing this and me not doing this. Like, you keep doing what you're doing. I'll watch and take notes. And if I feel like we need to change something, I'll just come and say, hey, we need to change this and that. And that's about it, man. It's awesome. Putting people where they're supposed to be is a big key in business, not even in the fence business. It's, business.
Yeah, anywhere,
in general. Having key players and key spots is the absolute plan. Who are your key players right now?
My key players is my whole team, man, because like I said, everybody's got a position, you know what I mean? Everybody plays a certain position, and we're a unit. Like without one, we're nothing. Like, in all reality, like, I got my two guys, my two laborers, which is my nephew that's been with me since he was like 14 years old. He's like 23 now. And I got this other young kid now. He's not that young. He's like 21 or something like that. But when he started, like I told him straight up, he was working for another fence company. He was making like $16 an hour. And I told him, I said, well, what happened over there? He's like, well, not much happened over there. He's like, I'm not getting much. I can't really live off that. I was like, I'm hungry. And then he begged and pleaded to work for me. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'll give you a shot. I'll give you one shot. But I'm not going to start you at $16 an hour. I'm just going to go straight to where I want you to be at. You're going to get $25 an hour. I was like, and you're going to, this is my standards. This is what it is. And that's the one thing about me too. Like I stick to it, and that's it. And it is what it is. And if you can't do that for me, then you're just not a good fit for me. And that's it. And you're just going to have to part ways. And he's a little beast now. He's been with me since the beginning of the year. He's solid. They're all my whole unit, man. We're all the same, you know what I mean? And my machines too, like those two, the IR 1000, that thing's beautiful. I love that thing.
Heck yeah, man. Mini skids are awesome. They're like two employees in themselves.
That was a game changer when I bought that too, though, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
That thing blows through that makes the whole job easier on everybody. And it's super fast. And if you know how to use it and not make a mess, because some guys, they turn in and they're friggin', it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, please don't do that. Just go straight, back up 5 feet, go straight, dig the hole. Back up 5 feet, go straight to the hole. Like, you got to learn how to use that thing. Don't be, that could be a gift and a curse too, because you might got the job all done, but like here we are striving on having a beautiful yard and a beautiful fence and we dig our mats, but if you're destroying our property, then like, you know, that you're not going to get a good review that way. You know what I mean? You have to take care of people's houses like you would take care of your own or your mother's.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's one of the reasons why like we don't run mini skids on our crew. I mean, back in my old job, I had one, but I was basically the only one that used it because of that reason in itself right there is making rut marks in people's nice grass. So you have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to do 30-point turns, even though you don't want to. You just want to just spin right around. You can't do that. So
nah, you definitely 100% cannot do that. No. And I also like groundhog too, so that's nice. That little toe along auger.
Yeah,
that works really nice on small tight areas. That's why people like, oh, you know, on the fence, why do you have two things? I'm like, because there's certain things call for certain meshes. That's why. You know what I mean? You know, like if it's a small area and this guy's got a beautiful landscape, I'm not even gonna think about bringing my IR 1000. I might not even want to bring that, to be honest with you. But I'll bring that because that's, you know, it makes no mess. It really don't. And as long as we dig on mats, so we dig on mats too. So like, you know, there's really no mess.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, dig on mats, there's no mess, man. And you know what? It's so easier for you too to pick up the dirt. That's another reason why I do it. It's not just because there's no mess, because now you can have two guys grab each side of the mat, pick it up and throw it in the wheelbarrow. And it takes 2 seconds to pick up a pile of dirt rather than you sitting there fighting with the shovel and hurting your back. Because I'll tell you right now, picking up dirt off the ground is probably one of the worst. For me, it's one of the worst things. That and mixing by hand in the wheelbarrow destroys my back. My back will be in pain all day. So if you can just dig on a mat, pick it up and put it in the wheelbarrow, even by yourself, there's no mess. It takes 2 seconds, a little bit of strength, throw it in the wheelbarrow. It makes the whole job like 10 times easier.
That's awesome.
No, it's a smart thing. Those old Portuguese dudes taught me how to do that. They were like, I got to dig on this. I'm like, all right. And then when I figured it out, I'm like, oh, okay. And even if that, you could just drag that mat right to the woods. If you're digging near the woods or somewhere where you can just dump the dirt, it's nice.
Right.
It's very easy.
Awesome. Well, hey man, we gotta like take a break and pay some bills. I'm gonna run a commercial. It's about 1 minute and 30 seconds long, and we'll be right back. All right.
All right, 10-4.